Hey, what's up everyone? Brownie Media here. My name's Azim and we're going to be doing another editing tutorial today. So, as always, we're going to start off with the basic correction. And the first thing I always look at is my color temperature. And honestly, that just depends on the mood that you're going for in the video. So, I think it's pretty okay where it is right now. I shot it in camera how I wanted it to be, so I'm not gonna change it. And same with the tint. It's not too green, it's not too purple. It's exactly where I want it to be. For the exposure, it's looking a little bit dark, and even though I want the final result to end that way, I want it to be kind of moody. I still want to raise the exposure just a little bit. So I'm going to start off by raising it by like that much. And we're going to come down to the highlights now and drop those down since we raised the exposure. And you honestly just have to play around with it to where it looks good. And then I'm going to come over to the shadows and boost those. Put them like right here. And then everything is a little too light now, so I'm going to bring the exposure back down. And because I brought the shadows up, as you can see, it made the blacks look really gray. And in order to compensate for that, what you want to do is bring the blacks down, and it fixes that and it adds in that contrast, as you can see. Alright, and as for the whites, the car is looking a little bit too dull, and so because it's a white car, if I bring this up, it's gonna help fix that quite a bit. We'll put it at like 74. Alright, we can bring the highlights down. That looks pretty good. Alright, now it's time for the clarity and dehaze. So for the dehaze, I usually do that first because it like darkens the image a lot, and it really makes the blues pop. But I'm gonna put it at like 18, and then for the clarity, I'm gonna raise it quite a bit. I'll put it at like 60. And as you can see, we've already got like such a significant difference going on with the photo. We're not even close to being done yet. Not even close. And then I like to come and finish things off with the tone curve. So I'm just gonna create my points. And let's see. I'll raise this. And I'm gonna raise the blacks to give her that faded look a little bit. Alright, so this is just like a very minor adjustment, and it's honestly just like what you see with your eye and how you want it to look. This is just how I feel I want my final design to look like. And then we're gonna come and mess with the colors, and this is always fun because especially because this photo has a ton of colors in the background. So like for the brakes, we'll start off with this. My brakes are red and they look a little too orange in this, so I'm gonna just slide this over a little bit, make the red pop a little more. And then over here, I think it would look really cool if we shifted the orange this way. And as you can see, like you can shift it in either direction and it looks nice, but this looks like really sick, very like different looking. And for the yellow, let's see, I think we should move it over as well just to like finish the top area here, otherwise it just like looks too out of place. It's affecting this area over here, and I think it looks better if it's over this way. not gonna mess with the purple or the magenta. I like the saturation of everything where it's at. And for the luminance, again, I like to make the red accents on my car pop. So we're gonna bring the red up a little bit, just like that. And as you can see, when you slide it, it really like makes it pop. It looks really cool. You don't want to overdo it though. And then for the yellow, I'll bring it down a little bit. That's really too much. There we go. And then because the car is blue, or I'm sorry, because the car is white, changing the luminance of the color blue, as you can see, it drastically changes how the car looks. So if you're ever editing a white car, a little trick is if it's looking really muddy, just raise the luminance of the blue and boom. You can see it makes it pop so nicely. And that's it for the HSL for right now. After messing with like the split toning and everything, we might have to go back to it and make some minor adjustments, but for now that's okay. So for the highlights and shadows, everyone has their own way of doing it, and you know, my way may not be the best, but the way I currently do it is I'll bring the saturation up really high, and then I'll slide this around until I find the color that I think like suits the image the most. So like right now, kind of like it over here, and then I'm gonna bring the saturation way down to like where I think it should be. And as you can see, this is with no split toning, and this is with split toning. And for the shadows, same thing. So bring it up really high, and I always like to put like some variation of blue in my shadows just to give it a cooler vibe, since my photos are already so warm. And then I'll bring this down to where I think it should be. And then you can mess with the balance if things seem off, but it seems to me like it's fine where it is. I think so. Alright, and then I'm going to sharpen the image a little bit and put in some noise reduction just to smoothen the car out, give it a glassy look. And then I'm going to mess with the vignetting. Where is it? Oh, here. And just enough to kind of bring the attention to the center of the image. And then I'm editing this for Instagram, so I'm gonna put it into a 4:5 crop. And so let's see. Just put it like there for now. And now we're gonna mess with some selective adjustments. So well, I'm actually gonna move this up a little bit, and we're gonna rotate the image. There we go. And then I don't like this white line that I have over here, so I'm gonna bring the image in just like that a little bit. Move it like that. Alright, and let's see. Okay, and one thing I forgot to do is before we do the selective editing, we want to fix the vibrance and saturation. And I have a lot of color in the image, so bringing the vibrance up is really going to make that pop, especially in the window area. And then to compensate for that, we're going to bring the saturation down a little bit. Bring it down to like 18. Alright, and now for the selective editing. So I don't like what's going on around the tire over here. We have this weird line, and so we need to fix that. So we're gonna come over to this magic wand looking thing. This is our adjustment brush, and we're gonna keep the density and feather at 100. Put the feather, or density and flow at 100. Put the feather around like 40, and the size is like around 5-ish. Doesn't matter exact. And I'm just gonna brush. Oops. I'm just gonna make this smaller. I'm actually gonna bring the flow down to 83. Here we go. And go around that. And the same thing right here. And then hit the O key on your keyboard to show the red mask. And then go to the erase. And just kind of bring it in. And you want to bring the feather up so it's not so abrupt. Same thing on this side. Alright. And then we're gonna mess around with this stuff. So bring the clarity down. It really just kind of like makes all that guck go away. And then bring saturation down so it's not as brown. And then the exposure just to kind of fix that. Alright. The clarity made a huge difference, as you can see. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to fix this paint chip right here. So I'm going to go to this brush right here. This is the healing and cloning tool. And I'm going to hit heal. And I'm going to bring the opacity up to 100. The feather can be at about 50 and bring the size way down. You only want to keep it as big as you need. So that's too small. And that's still too small. And I think that should do it. So I'm going to just hit it. And boom, you can see how perfectly that worked out. Look at that. And let's see. Since we have the selective tool open, this is going to be pretty difficult to selectively edit in this video for the sake of time. But we can do this right here. Look at that. Perfectly disappeared. And alright, let's move back over to our adjustment brush here, and let's fix this. I don't have my side markers in, but eventually one day I plan on getting some smoked side markers, and those would just be black. So what I'm just gonna do is fill those in with the adjustment brush myself. So I'm gonna put the density and flow at 100, put the feather at around 42 again, and size here. And honestly, it just matters like what is easiest to you. I'm gonna bring it really big actually and hit the O key. And then I'm gonna just go over the flow should be 11. And I'm just gonna go over where I want it. And then I'm gonna hit the eraser. And these are my settings right here. And I don't really like to use auto mask because I feel like it doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. And with a little bit of practice, is not hard at all. And you just want to erase around where the side marker would be. Oops, that was a little too much. Oh, dang it. Take your time with it. O key to see what's going on here. And I'm going to bring the exposure way down, bring the blacks down, saturation down, and you know, it looks kind of artificial, but it definitely looks a lot better than that. You know, it's a lot cleaner, it's not a distraction to the eye or anything. So let's see. Other than that, I'm thinking we could make this light turn on, since when my e-brake is on, for some reason the BRZ, the DRL won't go on. You have to buy a different module for that. So I'll come over here, same settings for the adjustment brush, just smaller, zoom in a little more. We'll use the same technique, make it really big and go over everything. And hit the O key, and then hit erase and go around everything. If you just raise the exposure, that's way too much, but that, now it looks like it's on compared to that versus that. That's with it off, that's with it on. Just a little bit to kind of light up the car, bring up the whites a little bit, maybe make it a little cool in terms of the temperature. There we go. And I'm thinking I want to raise the luminance of the blue in the photo a little bit. And let's see, I want to rotate it because I feel like even though the building is straight right now, the car is not. So I'm going to rotate the car to where I think the car is straight. And now the building is a little bit crooked, but that's okay because we can fix it. Come down to the upright tool and click on this corner here. And then just draw a straight line like this, and another one like this, and there you go. So as you can see, that's without it, and this is with it, and it just straightened the building in the whole photo. And there you go. Now our car and the building can both be straight instead of just one being straight. And I'm really liking the final look of this. I think I'm gonna get a linear filter and make it darken the ground just a little bit. This. Hit the O key. And bring down the exposure. And I think I'm going to get another one and do the same thing coming down from the top. Just to kind of help guide the eye to the car of the image and not being distracted by the other stuff. And it also makes the colors a lot nicer looking. And so I feel like I've got too much blue going on in my shadows here. The balance is off. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to bring the saturation of the blue down a little bit. And I'm also going to bring the balance. Yeah, bring it to the right. Alright. It's still looking a little too blue. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my adjustment brush. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna go to flow and I'm gonna bring it way down to like 30. I'm gonna take my saturation and bring it to -100. Bring my size way down, and I'm just gonna brush lightly over this and slowly take away some of that color because there's just way too much blue going on here. And I want the blue in the other parts of my image. And I'm going to bring the flow up a little bit, bring the size up a little bit, just taking away the color without obviously changing anything too much. Not like that. Alright. And then I'm gonna fix this bright spot by the tire. I don't like that. It's too distracting. Boom. Okay. That is the end of the video. That's the before. That's the after. I hope this was a great help to you. As always, I'm going to put my Instagram down in the link below. I'll put my car Instagram as well as my photography and media Instagram. Feel free to DM me any questions that you may have. I'll put the raw photo that I used in this video in the description as well. And if you want any of my other raw photos that you see me posting, feel free to have them. You can just contact me and I'll send them to you so you can practice editing. I have no issue helping people and giving away how I edit. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a nice day. Thank you.